Hey everybody, before this commentary starts, I just wanted to give a really quick announcement about a new project I'm going to be starting, which is one-on-one private coaching. And this is something I've always wanted to do for a very long time, but I never really felt like I had a very consistent schedule to do so, but now I think I do. So I think that this is a really good time to start off the project, since this is something you guys have always wanted. Now, how the lessons would work is that I would essentially be either going through a replay with you and just pointing out things that I noticed, just like how I do my commentaries. We can watch you play a game live, and then I can just give you feedback right off the bat, so you can just improve as the game goes on, kind of like what LS does in a way. We can just go through ob.gg if you just want to talk about things, really just anything you feel would be helpful to get you to improve in League as fast as possible. So we're going to be using a website called leaguecoaching.gg. It's a website I think is fairly reasonable just because it helps serve as a third party, so that you essentially pay me through lead coaching so that you don't get ripped off, I don't get ripped off because I can't get the money unless I give you a lesson. So I think it's fair for both of us, and I also think that it's easier to chat with me or to schedule a time slot with me because you can see my available time slots down below. And normally it would cost $45 a lesson, as you can see in the website, but since you guys have known me for a pretty long time, and since I appreciate you guys' support, I'm gonna be giving you guys only $15 a lesson. And you can get that special price by using a code called MeNohaxoryoutube. I'll leave it down in the description below with instructions and stuff like that. So if you're interested, feel free to check it out. If you don't really care, I'm still going to be posting commentaries as usual, so don't worry too much. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So let's go ahead and jump back to the commentary. So, hello everyone, MeNoHaxor here, bringing you guys a Zyra commentary. I haven't played Zyra in a pretty long time, but I think that she's always been kind of in and out of the meta, especially since that she's not the greatest support in terms of the current items that are out, because she's a more offensive support that builds things like Leandries and Rylai's and all that stuff. But I think that she's still a decent pick in certain matchups. In particular, I think that she does really well against melee champions like Braum, who has been getting a lot more play recently. So I thought it might be fun to just do a Zyra game, and this game ended up being pretty interesting, so I'll just go ahead and talk about what I think about her. So this lane matchup is going to be an Ashe Zyra versus Jhin Braum. Jhin Braum isn't particularly strong because they don't have a lot of synergy with each other. It takes a while for Jhin to proc all the passive charges on Braum. And Ashe Zyra is really, really strong because once we both turn 6, we have a lot of initiation power, and we have enough damage to burst down one person. So my game plan in this lane is that I'm going to try to bully out the Jhin and Braum, because one of Zyra's big advantage against melee supports is that she can pretty much chunk anyone she wants for a lot of health with using her plants and her spells. And Braum can't really do much to retaliate against me. Like, he can throw out Qs every now and then, but if I just throw plants at the Braum, he's not really going to ever approach me, unless I really mess up my positioning. So I'm looking to be the aggressor in this matchup and really kind of dictate the pace of the lane for my Ashe and I. Level 1, since you have Q, I'm not really looking to aggress that much since I don't have plants that I can make very easily. So I'll throw a Q every now and then just to get a little bit of damage to help shove the wave, but I'm not really going to try to all-in or anything. And also, proccing Thunderlords is extremely easy on Zyra with her plants, because her plants count as the damage procs to Thunderlord. So a lot of times what your combo is going to end up being is that you're going to hit the enemy champion with your Q, you're going to make a plant with your Q, and you're also going to auto the enemy champion as well, so that way your plant can get off one auto on the enemy, and then that's 3 attacks, and then that procs the Thunderlord. So that's generally how you want to poke them out. You can kind of conserve mana just by looking at your cooldown on Thunderlords, and then once you see that it has come back up off cooldown, then you can just go ahead and rinse and repeat all over again. You can see I didn't even have to auto right there. The plant autoed him twice for me because the Jhin was a little out of position. This lane's already looking really good for us. I'm a little low in mana, but it's not really that big of a deal. Zyra isn't that mana hungry if you just conserve your spells. Like, I'm not using my Q every single time it's up. I'm, being a little reserved every now and then, but you can see just by the amount of pressure I'm exerting, like, the Jhin and Braum are both at half health already, and we have so much pressure we can just push out the lane. We can just keep autoing them for free. So as soon as I hit level 3, I'm already running up, now that I leveled up my E, and once again, just applying so much pressure. The Jhin tries to do a trade back here, but it's really not worth it, because we trade about exactly the same amount of health, and I have more pots than him. So the Jhin is actually just not going to be able to really farm anymore if he keeps on trading like that. So I would definitely not take that trade if I were the Jhin. And even under towers, Zyra's really, really good at poking people down. So you'll see here, what I'm going to be doing is that I'm kind of watching the tower to see when it's throwing autos. And as soon as the tower is going to shoot another auto towards a minion, I'm going to proc out my plant. So that way my plant has a couple extra seconds to auto an enemy champion that's nearby. And I'm able to get off a Thunderlord's proc on the Jhin while I'm out of tower range, which is like actually just ridiculous poke. That's how you generally want to poke under tower as Zyra. You don't have to be that observant about the tower shots. It's a little hard to get the timing right after a while, but be a little mindful of it, and you can definitely get a couple extra autos with your plants, which over the long run might add up to a little bit of extra poke. But you can see the Jhin is just out of pots, no mana left. He's really screwed. He has to go back soon. So we're just going to keep on the pressure right now, just continuously pushing them under tower. I'm going to try to like help auto creeps every now and then, auto the Braum whenever I want. And I see that Braum right now is really out of position, so I'm going to try to go for a root and actually just go for Ignite on him. He actually just levels up to 4, so he gets a little bit of a health boost. But he ends up panic flashing, so that ends up being an okay trade. Ignite for flash is definitely not bad. If he didn't flash, he possibly might have died, because Ash and I could have both flashed for him and maybe got off a couple extra autos. But it's okay. Not really too big of a concern. That trading 1-for-1 summoner spell is completely fine. And Lee Sin has to come here to soak up the experience now. So Ash and I are just going to look to push one more wave, and then we're going to go ahead and go back. Because there isn't really a point in staying in lane. We're not going to be able to get the tower anyways. You can see that once Ash and I go back, even though the Jhin CS is a little inflated because of killing plants, we have a really big CS lead. So this lane is already looking really good for us. And now that Braum flashes down, we definitely have kill pressure on him. So as my first back, I went ahead and got a Frostfang, refillable potion, and 1 control ward. I like this setup a lot more because I had about 750 gold, and I think that having the Frostfang is going to help a lot with more lane pressure. And I need 1 control ward so that way I can just control ward the river, and we can continue to play really aggressively since we'll see the incoming Lee Sin gank if it doesn't show up. And once again, this is another example where I took a pretty bad trade there, but I'm not that concerned because I do have a refillable potion, so I can heal up back gradually over time. So I'm not terribly concerned if I keep training health with Jhin. The Jhin ends up going for a flash auto. I don't know why he did that because a flash auto only does about 200 damage even with the 4th bullet, so I definitely wasn't going to die. And because he flashed up like that, I just go ahead and go for a root. Gonna land a snare and then start walking out. And as soon as I see Jhin cast his W, I'm just gonna flash out because I don't want to risk dying to that W because it definitely would have killed me there. And as long as I don't die, this is gonna be a huge win for us. So I just burn flash to make sure I don't die. Now Ash is gonna be able to kill the Jhin for free, and we get a huge chunk on Braum. And now Jin's gonna miss all this experience in CS. So that's a really, really good win for us. Now I'm running up to the river right now because I see the Vlad actually try to dive the Ori. So I'm gonna try to cut him off in this route here because the Kha'Zix is already here. So the only escape path if he has flash is to flash over the wall and use the blast cone, and in that situation I'm ready for that. But he ends up not having flash, and the Kha'Zix is just gonna end up killing the Vlad for free. But it was good for me just to run up here and make sure that Vlad doesn't have any more escape paths just in case, because there isn't really anything I can't really do anything bot anyways, so it was fine. Now, I didn't have that much gold, so I went ahead and bought boots and another control ward. Since my Ori died mid, I ran mid so I can soak up some of the experience. There isn't really a point in me going bot because my Ashe already went to go back to heal, and if I went back to bot lane right now, I'd kind of be in a 1v2, and I would just have to sit really far back anyway, so I'm not really going to get anything done. So to maximize just getting gold and experience on my team, it's better for me just to go mid for a little bit, so I can take a couple CS, poke the Vlad a little bit. Now I hit level 6, which is kind of nice. I got like 1 or 2 CS and a bit of experience, so that was a lot better for me to go mid than it is to go bot, because yeah, like if I were bot, I wouldn't have gotten any more experience than if I had gone mid. So now that Ashe and I are both 6, we do have so much pressure since the Jhin and Braum are not level 6 yet. So I'm going to look to be extremely aggressive and try to zone them out as much as possible. The only slightly concerning thing is that we haven't quite seen the Lee Sin until just now when the Kha'Zix saw him. So once I see him, I could definitely start making some plans and start just playing really far up front. I missed the snare there, which kind of sucks. And then Ashe takes a pretty big chunk of damage here. But you're going to see soon Ashe, I believe, is going to go for an ult right here. The only thing I don't like about this ult is that I used my roots from before, and my roots actually wasn't up on cooldown. This thing is lying. But, so I have to end up flashing, and then as soon as my roots came up, I ended up using it, and the Braum was able to flash out in time. So if Ashe waited maybe 2 more seconds for my E to be back up, and then I could go for a root and then an ult, on the Braum would continue the CC chain, we definitely would have gotten the kill, but he ended up burning flash. Not the biggest deal in the world, it's fine. And since we saw the Lee Sin is probably around Raptors, since we saw him around the Rift and then is walking down this way to clear more camps, we know he's probably going to be bot side. So I'm not going to look to be that aggressive, and also because our ults are down. So we're going to keep shoving the lane, but we're not going to try to push under tower. So we're just going to let the creep wave push up, but yeah, we're just going to forfeit the wave, just stay really far back. Ashe scattered out this Raptor camp here, so we suspect that he's probably going to be bot side soon, because he's either doing the Golem camp, or he's going to go to the Raptor camp soon if it's going to be up. So yeah, I'm just going to stay really far back, just continue to throw a little bit of poke out, but yeah, you can see how far back I am, just because I don't have flash. The Lee Sin comes, I have to be able to run away. So I'm okay with just not pressuring them right now. It's really important to just give a lot of respect to your enemy jungler if you don't have flash up and you're a squishy person like Zyra. And it turns out the Lee Sin was actually in the Dragon Pit the whole time. So it definitely was good that I did not aggress too much and we didn't push the lane far up too much, because if we did, then the Lee Sin probably could have ganked instead of doing Dragon. Since he just finished Dragon, he still might be lingering in the area. We did see that Raptor camp up from before, so I'm not going to be too aggressive, just going to wait in the bush right here. And now I see the Kha'Zix just blast going over the wall, so now I am going to look to try to be a little aggressive. Now, they decided to jump on the Ashe right here, so I immediately go for the root on the Jhin. Going to throw all my spells on the Jhin and not go for the Braum at all, because if I go for the Jhin, I know I can do enough damage to where I can zone him out, and the Kha'Zix just shows up from the bush. So we get a free kill on him, and now we're just going to go ahead and chase the Braum. I have my E, but I'm not going to use it yet because I'm pretty sure we can just kill this Braum anyways. And since the Lee Sin is here, I'd rather save my root for Lee Sin. So as soon as I see a free root on Lee Sin, when he's standing right here, I'm going to go for the root, get the snare, and then as we're walking to the tri-pit, I'm going to put a trinket ward here to give Ashe the vision necessary to land more autos. So that was a really good 3-0 for us. And now we're going to get a lot of damage on this tower. At this rate, I can estimate we're probably not going to be able to take the tower in this upcoming wave. So instead of trying to take the tower, I'm just going to keep on trying to push the wave out with the Ashe, and then we're just going to go ahead and recall. There isn't really a rush to take the tower just yet. It would be nice, of course, but it would be a little risky since the bot lane just came back, yeah. So there definitely would have been enough time. And if we had him back just there, and we tried to take the tower but failed to get it, and then we'd have to recall at a really awkward time, then we'd lose a wave or two. So this was better to maximize our golden experience in the lane. Now with my purchase, I went ahead and got a mobility boots. I think mobility boots is really important in Zyra because as a squishy support, you don't really have a lot of escapes. Oh, and I'm actually going to get initiated on by this Braum and Jhin. So I'm looking to just try to sidestep the Jhin ult, kind of waiting until the Kha'Zix comes. Unfortunately, I do miss my root right here. It's not the biggest deal in the world. It would have been nice to get a lot of extra damage on the Braum, but the Ashe is going to end up arrowing the Braum, so it's not terrible. I'm going to end up ulting, and note that as I'm ulting, I'm putting my ult a lot closer to where the Jhin is than the Braum, because I know the Braum is most likely going to die, right? So I'd rather land my ult so that the Jhin will get hit by the knockup and for 100%, and if the Braum gets hit, he gets hit, but he's most likely going to die. So get the knockup on the Jhin. I back up a little bit just because I'm a little low on health, but we do see the Lee Sin just walked over a ward, so I know that I'm really safe to going for this dive right here, because the Vlad is definitely mid, the Renekton's top, Lee Sin's here, and we just killed the Braum, so the Jhin is 100% by himself. So I drop a ward in this bush right here, we're just going to slowly walk up, and I see that Ashe goes ahead and dives the Jhin right here, and instead of going for the root on the Jhin, what I end up doing is that I'm going to go for a really preemptive route, and you'll see that once I see the Ashe flash in, I'm going for a root right over here. And the reason why I do this is because I know that Ashe can just kill the Jhin almost immediately just by throwing a couple more autos off. And if the Jhin does flash right here, the only way he can really flash is back towards the tower in this general vicinity. So I know if I throw a root and he flashes, I'll end up hitting him. And if I don't, if he doesn't end up flashing, he's just gonna die to the Ashe. So there really isn't a reason for me to go for the root on the Jhin where he was fighting the Ashe over here. So I go for the root, like way back over here, and he actually ends up flashing into it, which is a pretty nice prediction on my part. It really didn't change anything in the end, because the Ashe would have killed him anyways, but that's just an example of being more thoughtful about your spell usage, because if I know that the Jhin is going to die anyways to the Ashe if I cast my root over in this direction, there isn't really a point in casting it, right? You might as well just cast it in a direction where you're predicting the flash, and if you end up getting lucky, you'll end up burning his flash and hitting him. So that's how a lot of pros actually do predictive hooks and stuff like that. They don't really aim for where they're going to die. They're going to aim for a random area where they think they're going to flash in the event that they do flash, in a very small like percentage case that it happens. But anyways, since Ashe got the bot tower, she's like, we already killed their bot lane, so I know she's safe here. I roam up to help Kha'Zix get vision around here. Like I drop a ward here in this bush, and then I'm going to run mid just to relieve some pressure for the Orianna and zone the Vlad out for some CS a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and recall now, though. Since I already dropped on my wards in their jungle, no reason for me to be here anymore. I'm low on health. Going to restock on wards. So now our goal is that since we took the bot tower, I'm going to start making my way up towards topside, because every time you take the bot tower as bot lane and you have the advantage, like you're the first person to take the tower, you just want to run top. I think going top is the best lane to go to, because you can just easily gank the lane. It's really easy to force the top laner out because he's usually going to be by himself. So the Renekton sees me, he pretty much has to run away now. He can't fight the Rise. And now I can just start establishing vision control in the area, drop a pink ward in this tri bush, clear out the ward in this bush, and then get vision in the jungle. So I'm going to go ahead and drop another ward here. I see that Braum is clearing this ward, so I know that this Renekton is probably going to be really safe for me to dive. Ashe lands a really nice arrow on the Renekton here, so this pretty much means I'm going to get a free root on this guy. He gets rooted. Gonna throw Ignite on him, auto him with a couple plants, and we get a free kill. And now we can just take the tower for free, which is really nice. The enemy team does a pretty good response, and they actually end up 4-manning mid, which is definitely the correct thing to do, because 3 of us are topside. But I think they're going to overstay just a little bit, because they realize they kind of have to force something. So while they're just kind of trying to take the tower and fight these two guys mid, Rise, Ashe, and I are all just trying to make our way down, and we're just going to try to collapse on them. So I see that they actually try to dive these guys. I see the Jhin ult is going off, so I'm going to go for a flash route just to ensure I can land it. Because if I didn't flash and I just started walking up, the Jhin would have seen me and he would have just canceled his ult and ran away. But by flashing, while I was still out of vision and landing the route, I was able to guarantee I land the Q, and then I kill him. And then here, the Braum and Lee Sin are going one direction and the Vlad's going another direction. So I kind of have to make a really split decision on which people to chase. And the thing is, with Lee Sin and Braum, it's kind of hard to chase them because the Lee Sin can just ward hop, the Braum can just jump to the Lee Sin, and I know Renekton still has TP. So it's a little risky going for this kill. So I just instead just go ahead and collapse on the Vlad, because it's one like for sure guaranteed kill if I use my ult and zone out the Vlad, and one kill is one kill. It's not the worst thing in the world trying to go for a greedy play and getting 2 kills. So I saw the Lee Sin was hovering around the side, so I'm going to try to zone him out a little bit. Doesn't really end up doing anything much, but I'm going to go ahead and push the lane with the Ashe. Go ahead and proc my Frostfang charges to get a little bit of extra gold, and then I'm just going to leave. No real point in staying anymore. And before I left up one little plant just in case, because, I don't know, sometimes like a Braum or Lee Sin might try to Q me and just stop my recall or whatever. So leaving one plant up before your recall is generally a nice thing to do as Zyra, out of habit. So I'm going to head and start building a Haunting Guys. I think Haunting Guys into Liandry, into Rylai's is the most optimal build in Zyra. I'm pretty sure like every single Zyra player does it, because Zyra scales really well with magic penetration. As a matter of fact, my runes are all magic penetration. So I'm going to be doing a lot of damage to champions, and that's kind of the way I like to play Zyra. But Dragon is up, so I'm looking to establish vision control. Gonna use my pink in this bush and then start establishing vision in this cliffside area. Gonna start making my plants up here. I see there's a pink in here, so I'm not really gonna try to get vision up here when I can just keep making plants. My goal is to just try to stop the Lee Sin from going in. So I throw a root down to try to slow him down and just to make sure my team can get the dragon for free. And now we're just going ahead and rotate mid and try to take this mid tower since we already took the top tower. Now we see the Braum is here trying to rotate back up to mid. I throw a root on him just to snare him, and then my team is just going to follow up on our root. We're just going to pretty much use all our ults on this Braum. Now Vlad also got a ult on 3 of us, so I don't have flash, so I'm staying a little far back and really giving respect to the Vlad. Now the Vlad actually decides to go for the Orianna instead of myself, which was a little weird because I thought the Vlad would just go for a really squishy Zyra, but I guess he went for a kill on Orianna, which was probably a better decision on his part. And now we're going to go ahead and try to push on mid. Now, I see the Lee Sin is actually going upward towards the Ashe, so instead of trying to go for the Renekton, I'm actually going to circle back and try to help out my Ashe. I don't know if that was the best decision, but yeah, we're just going to end up getting a 1-for-1 because the Ashe ends up dying. But that's okay. I'm just going to end up chasing out the Lee Sin, but nah, not the biggest deal in the world. We got the tower too, so that was kind of nice. Now I see Lee Sin is trying to contest the blue with the Kha'Zix, so I'm gonna just make sure that I can ensure the blue steal. I don't have any wards, so I'm gonna leave one plant right in the center here just to give us vision, and then I'm just gonna back off. Kha'Zix should be able to get the blue pretty safely. I don't know how Ryze got caught, but whatever. I'm just gonna leave. I actually see the Jhin is here, so I'm going to try to be really greedy and just go for a little poke. This is a bit risky, because the Jhin's actually going to end up turning with his ult. Luckily, since I do have my plants autoing for my Frostfang procs, my quest is done, so I do get a little bit of movement speed burst every time I get my plants auto. So I was able to have enough movement speed to just kind of zone out all the Jhin bullets, which is kind of funny. But yeah, that was a little bit risky for me to do that. In hindsight, I should not have done that, because that could have easily cost me my life. So I got enough money for a blasting wand, once again building into Leandries. My team is going to do the Rift Scuttler, so I'm going to try to run up to help my team just in case enemies show up. So I do see the Vlad and Braum are going to come here. So I'm being really conservative with my root. I could just root the Braum right here if I wanted to, but I don't really see a point in doing that because Braum isn't really a high priority target. Like the Renekton and Vlad, especially Vlad, is a much higher priority target. So I'm going to start running up just to kind of zone them out. And now that I see that the fight is pretty much done, and we got the free kill on a Renekton, now I'll go for the root. Land it on the Braum. The Braum shielded so it didn't hit the Vlad, which is okay. We end up burning the Braum flash. And now we're just going to keep chasing, because we see 4 people, all 5 of us are here. So I don't have my root up yet, so instead I'm just going to run up really aggressively and go for an ult. And I place my ult position right here, because if the enemy champions are hiding in this corner right here out of vision, this is still gonna knock them up. And I had to walk in pretty aggressively for that, so I'm in a really bad spot. Like, I'm really chugged. But I was able to get a really nice zoning ult, so that way the Vlad just couldn't run in and just do a lot of damage, and the Jhin also got knocked up. So I am pretty low on health, but I'm still gonna try to stay because they don't have that many high range champions. Like, the Jhin is kind of zoned out. I just saw him use his W, so I'm not really that afraid of anything. This is really greedy play, but the Vlad ends up proto-belting, and I somehow got hit by the proto-belt. I'm not really sure how, to be honest, because I did still have flash up, so that kind of sucks I got hit by that, but it's kind of whatever. I mean, like, we end up cleaning up this fight anyways. Dardoch kind of goes a little aggro, but Ashe cleans up, so it ends up being a 4-for-5, and we get the tower, so it's not terrible. It probably could have gone a little bit better, though, because the Ashe wasn't quite with us in that fight. She was pushing top. It's okay, though. Anyways, I respawn, finish Leandry, start working towards our allies. Run bot immediately, try to soak up some experience. And then as soon as the Ryze comes, I'm just going to let him get the experience, and I'll just start walking away. So, I do see the Braum and Jhin are in this area around Baron. So, I'm a little concerned, actually. So, I'm actually just going to run up to Baron immediately, because there is a very small chance they could be doing the Baron, and you don't want to risk these small percentage chances. So I ward here first, just in case they were just camping a bush. In hindsight, I probably could have made some plants first. but I pop the scrying, and now we see they actually are doing Baron, so this is really bad. So I have to try to stall them right now. I don't have my ult, but I do see Lee Sin tries to go for a ward, so I end up getting a root on him, end up chunking him for about half his health with just one combo. Now the Lee Sin is so low, the Orianna's going to be able to clean him up with the Kha'Zix, and this is a really good fight for us. Now, I'm trying to run up to help the Kha'Zix, but the Vlad just appears out of nowhere and starts chunking me and Ori. So I end up running down this direction, because if I end up running up here, I would just be taking more Baron damage, and I'm probably going to die to the Vlad anyways. So I run down this way, try to zone out the Vlad from killing the Ori, but she ends up dying. And now I'm just going to try to run away from the Vlad. I see the Jingle is probably going to go for me. Failed to dodge that bullet. I flash up here to try to have the Ashe tank another bullet, but I don't even know how that bullet did not hit the Ashe. I got hit, so that kind of sucks, because I end up dying. And then this fight is a little close. The Ryze, I think, kind of misplays that by running into melee range of the Renekton. But yeah, we end up losing that fight, which ended up being not that big of a deal because we did stop their Baron, given that we were in a really bad position. So it was okay. Could have been a little bit better. I didn't have my ult up until I died, so that was kind of a bummer. And I think that was probably the most deciding factor as to why we lost the fight, actually, is I didn't have my ult up. But that was just a factor of just fighting so recently after the fight in the top side. So now that everything's calmed down a little bit, I'm going to run back to Baron, try to get some more vision up for us. I think getting one ward right here and one ward right here is really important if you're on red side, because this pretty much sees the entrance from them walking up this way and from them from mid walking up to here, and this ward just pretty much sees that they're going to walk up this alleyway. So having these two wards is usually sufficient enough if you're going to do Baron, if you want to see the enemy team coming in. But I see my Ryze is going to try to fight these guys. I'm going to go immediately for the Vlad, land a root, just go for an ult. I ulted even though he's rooted, because as soon as he comes back up from the pool, he's going to get knocked up by my ult, because there's a little bit of a delay. So it seemed like a really weird ult, because I didn't get any damage off my ult, but it was more for the knockup to keep on CCing the Vlad. Now, I end up putting another ward here, because I know that the Braum is up in this area. Go for another root on the Braum, and that gives us enough time for my team to catch up. Then another free kill on him, which is quite nice. Now we make the Call of Duty Dragon because two of them died. We're a little like out of position and not really ready for Baron, so it's a lot safer for us just to do this Dragon. Now, the only important thing that I think is noteworthy here is that when I make my plants to scout out the enemy Lee Sin, I'm not making my plants like immediately next to each other. I intentionally made two seeds spaced out like this, so that way I can maximize the amount of vision I'm getting when I'm scouting this cliff area, because this plant right here gives us enough vision up in this side, and then this plant right here gives us all the vision down here. So if the Lee Sin wants to try to smite still, we have complete sight of where he is, like if he's in this bush or if he's all the way down here, and then we can react accordingly. And Lee Sin ends up trying to Q, and he ends up queuing a plant because they were so spaced out like that. So ends up being a pretty secure dragon for us. And that's how you generally want to scout as Zyra. Like, if you want to just poke the enemy, sure, just put your two plants right next to each other. But if you want to really maximize the amount of vision you're trying to get from your plants, you want to just try to space them out. So I have no more wards. Just go ahead and recall. They're not going to go Baron. I'm going to run immediately back. Try to reestablish the vision while my team goes ahead and shops. I have to be a little careful. I just saw the Braum, so I'm going to make a plant first just to see where they are. And then I'll go ahead and start reestablishing our vision control. I'm going to be really patient. I don't need to rush in for vision right now. I'm just going to take my time, put my ping inside the Baron pit. Really just wait till I have backup before I go for deeper vision. And now I can go for this ward right here. And since Kha'Zix is in the area, he's going to start sweeping, so I'll just follow him into their blue side. Because once again, like, usually staying with your jungler is probably a good idea if you're going to go for deep vision. And now I'm able to establish this vision right here. So this ward right here is really good because it sees this path walking up way earlier. And same thing for this ward right here. So we're just going to camp this bush, seeing if they're going to face check at all, because we know they don't have vision here since we just cleared it. We see that Braum is trying to be really cautious with the warding, so he's like, slowly making his way up. And as soon as we see him walk up all the way here, that's when we decide, okay, let's just go for the Braum kill. So they're going to blast cone over. In hindsight, I probably should have blast coned over with them instead of walking this way, but the Brum ends up flashing, using another blast cone to get out. Ashe ult missing kind of sucks, and yeah, we're kind of chasing a little too far, because we see the Jhin route is here now, and I see the TP's coming now, and we pretty much miss everything, and then the Vlad is here, so this is actually pretty bad for us. So, once again, I have to make a pretty split-second decision right here. I either try to walk back with my team to prepare for a fight, or I just ditch them and just head to the right. So, I make the decision to run to the right. The Vlad ends up flashing over my plants, and I see the Lee Sin and Renekton also running up. So I cast my ult right here, because I don't want the Vlad to be diving my backline. If I cast my ult, he's going to get knocked up if he continues walking forward. So this kind of forces him to go back. And then now I see these other two guys here, so I'm just going to walk all the way back. I'm not even going to try to mess with them. Like, it's actually just not worth it, since this isn't looking like the greatest of fights. Like, it's still a 4v5, we don't have Ryze. So I'm just looking to play really safe. We don't really have enough follow-up. The Kha'Zix lost his GA and he's gonna die. I miss a root. It's whatever. Like, we don't have to keep forcing this. It's a 3v5. If we die here, we lose Baron. So we're just gonna go ahead and shove them out of the way. Re-push at mid. I see Lee Sin is trying to re-establish vision control, so I'm actually gonna linger around and just poke him out. I should be relatively safe. This ward here should scout to see if anyone else on their team is here. So I preserve my pink. We didn't end up winning that fight, but we got the bot tower because the Ryze split push, so it wasn't terrible, but once again, could have been a lot better if we coordinated that. I don't know why the Vlad did that. He ends up igniting me for some reason. That's okay. Yeah, the Ori, I guess, is just gonna go really ham. I don't know what she's doing, really, but she ends up chunking the Jhin enough where we get a free kill. Then I end up getting a follow-up route on the Braum, and then now we can go for the Baron. So, now that we're going for the Baron, I don't have any more wards, so I'm saving my plants so that instead of using my plants for Baron, is what you should normally do, I'm going to use my plants for vision to make sure that the Lee Sin can't just smite steal it. So I'm hanging on to my W, that was for my passive, and as soon as I see the Vlad walk up because of her vision here, I'm going to start walking up here, and I'm just going to pop this scrying just to see if he's coming up this way. He's not, so it's pretty safe. Got the free Baron. Easy stuff. The Lee Sin was a bot anyways, which is why I didn't even bother to make a plan anymore. So I finished my Rallies. This is a pretty early Liandry Rallies. Probably just because I have 5 kills. And now I'm really, really strong. Like, I actually just do so much damage. So I'm looking to establish vision control around this jungle area, because ideally what we want to happen is that the forwards are going to be pushing mid, the Ryze are going to be pushing bot, and then what we can do is that if we can just keep pressuring this mid lane and the bot lane, and whichever lane needs more help, we can rotate accordingly. And so having vision in their jungle is a lot easier, so that way we can coordinate our rotations a lot more easily. So that's why I'm kind of in this area. The Ashe ends up seeing this Renekton, so we're actually going to try to catch him out. Ashe is just going to get a pretty nice arrow, chunk this guy for a lot, end up killing him. Not bad, not bad. Now we have a wave coming in. It may be about 20 seconds, so we're just going to go ahead and start pushing this in, establishing vision control, and start sieging. So during a siege, you can just make plants like this. Like, even under a tower, just totally go for it, because it's helpful just to get a lot of vision and free poke like this. To know that there's only 3 of them down here, so we can just end up hitting this tower pretty easily. I don't know if we needed to back off this much because of the Jhin ult. I think if the Kha'Zix was here, that probably would have been better, since Ashe tanked every single bullet from that. But my plants did a lot of damage. We're end up chunking them for a lot. This is pretty good for us. This tower is almost dead anyways. Yori ends up getting a pretty nice pick on the Jhin right here. And now this tower is definitely going to die next wave. It probably would have been better if one of our teammates went back to catch the wave, because Baron empowered minions do walk a bit faster. But, yeah, it's not the biggest deal. Make some more plants. And now we're going to pretty much start the fight here. So I end up getting the root before the Renekton dashes, which is quite good. And then now I'm going to make another ult here just to zone them out. So this ult zones out the Vlad so he can't go in, but unfortunately their front line still just tries to dive us, and I end up dying because I got knocked up and Lee Sin just decided to burst me for whatever reason instead of the Ashe. And then because of that decision, Ashe ends up living in this fight, and then she's gonna end up killing Vlad. The Kha'Zix ends up almost killing their entire backline. So it ends up being a 4 for 4 because our eyes died top. But we got the bot inhib, which is what really matters. And now we get a free dragon as well. So could have been better executed, but pretty happy with the result because this is still a pretty good snowball with the Baron buff. Gonna head top, just push the wave out a little bit. Gonna look to try to get top wave going because this top tower is almost dead, and now we can just reposition ourselves to start sieging the top side, and then slowly take that inhibitor while this bot lane inhibitor starts pushing out. You see the Lee Sin here, but I don't think there's really a point in fighting. We know they're all in the area, we're not really close to our team. Might as well just play it really safe. No reason to regress when we have a lead. So in this siege, I see a pink ward is over here. So it's really important for me to continuously make plants up here because making the plants is really important for vision. Now the Ori missed her ult, which kind of sucks, but I'm just going to keep floating around the top mid area and just help whichever lane needs my assistance. So like for example, when the Ori's hitting the tower here, I'm throwing on E just to zone out the Vlad so Ori can get some more autos, and then once this wave is done, I'm going to walk back topside to make sure that they don't jump on my Ashe, make some plants for some vision. And now we see that a lot of them were bot side, so Ashe is pretty safe in taking the tower here. General comes up, so I throw out a preemptive E just in case the Lee Sin wants to walk up forward or ward hop or something. So they can't really engage on us like that. And once again, continuously making plants whenever they're up just so we have some vision. The Ashe just gets obliterated because the Renekton ended up TPing back here, flashing. My ult kind of sucked. I should have put it a little bit farther back. But yeah, this is pretty much a lost fight, so we just kind of have to run now. So I'm going to start running away. I flash over the wall before Lee Sin Qs. He ends up queuing the Kha'Zix, so that was kind of awkward. I can't really help the Kha'Zix because I don't have cooldowns. And the Vlad is, not the Vlad, the Jhin is coming up to me, so this is a little bit bad for me. I make one plant here because once again I have Rylai's. I can slow him down with my plant autos. And now I'm just going to start running for my life because this Jhin is after me. So once again, just make another Q plant because my E is still on cooldown. And then I'm just going to blast over the wall. I throw another E right here because I saw Lee Sin was chasing me and he might have ward hopped over the wall or Q'd over the wall. But I end up making a plant with my E, and then the plant ends up giving the vision to slow him, so... Escaped. I don't know, that was a little close. But that's okay. Not the best thing, because pretty much my entire team died. But, we broke the top inhib, it's okay. I do have Void Sap done, so I am very, very strong. Like, my plants do so much damage, so... Generally, you want to take fights pretty slowly. Just, once again, establish vision control right now, so I'm just going to go ahead and sweep the area, drop some more wards in this area. Like, this is a ward already placed here, but I'm just replacing it because my plan right now is to just sweep the area, drop my wards, and then just go ahead and immediately recall. Baron's not going to be up for 40 seconds, so since I already used the majority of my wards, I might as well just go back and recall because there's nothing for us to do. My solo laners can just push out lanes. I assume they won't get caught, and now when the Baron starts, I'm going to have a couple pink wards. I've restocked on my vision wards in case any of my wards get cleared, so this is just really good preparation. And now my team is going to start the Baron. So my goal right now is to just zone out the Lee Sin, because once again, we just need the Baron buff. I don't want them to steal it whatsoever. So as soon as my team starts it, I'm going to look to try to root the Lee Sin. He has to back off right now, and my team definitely has Baron 100%. So I'm going to start backing off already. This is really good for us. So now I see that Vlad is coming up here. So this is kind of awkward, right? Because my team is kind of trapped in this pit, and the Vlad can definitely just go for Orianna and Ashe. So I kind of have to make a split-second decision right here. I either throw all my spells on the Vlad and try to help out my team, or I throw all my spells on the enemy team over here to stop them from going into the pit. So assessing the situation, I'm pretty confident that if it's only just the Vlad, my Orianna and Ashe can survive. And I think it's a lot more important if these three guys don't end up being in the pit. since the Kha'Zix just jumped out, he can't really rejoin the fight very easily. So I'm pretty sure as long as I zone out these 3 people, the Vlad can't really 1v2. So instead of turning on the Vlad right here, I'm going to end up just using my ult on this side over here. And this ult's going to be able to zone out the Jhin now. The Braum and Lee Sin are going to get knocked up. They're not going to be able to reach these guys in time. So they actually do end up killing the Vladimir. And now the Jhin is a little separated from the team. So my goal right now is just try to fight the Jhin. So the Jhin is just kind of dancing around. He sees me. I'm just going to land a rune and just chunk this guy. Like, I do so much damage. It's actually ridiculous. I probably do half his health. And then we end up killing the Jhin, ace them, and now we have Baron buff. And we're just going to push for the win now. So yeah, just that split-second decision of just deciding what to use my ult on which priority targets is pretty important in that last fight. And now we end up winning the game. So I would say, yeah, I got a lot of kills this game, but I think that was mostly just due to a really good laning phase. Like you saw throughout the laning phase, I had so much pressure on them. We were able to get some free kills, and a lot of my positioning in fights were really well placed so that I wasn't actually dying. I only died in like super critical team fights where we ended up getting aced or something. So I think I played this game pretty well as Zyra, and I think I ended up doing almost the most damage on my team, which is usually expected as Zyra if you end up going the damage biblically and your allies. So yeah, it was a pretty clean game. I think Zyra's an okay pick in some situations. She's not a terrible person, but not a bad pick if you just want to play that kind of aggressive playstyle and solo carry your team with damage. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks for listening to this commentary. Leave a comment, let me know who you want to see next, and I'll see you guys later.